The Aventon Pace 500.3 is Aventon's answer to the call for anybody looking for a comfortable cruiser e-bike. Whether you're just going on a leisure ride or running errands around town, the cruiser has the flexibility to be upgraded and changed to fit your needs. In this full review, we'll dive into all the details from the componentry to the frame design, and we'll even put that motor and power to the test on real streets and up our steep hill. And then at the end, I'll even weigh in with some pros and cons to hopefully help you decide if the Pace 500 is the next cruiser e-bike for your adventure. But first, let's take a closer look. Hey everyone, JT from Ebike Escape, and in today's review, we're going to take a fresh look at the Aventon Pace 500.3 and how it has stacked up in the competitive marketplace that it exists in since its release in March of 2023. When the Pace 503 had just released, it received a slew of new upgrades, starting with Aventon's new torque sensor, which has now become unanimous across all of the Aventon models. That torque sensor does a very nice job giving you a nice, smooth pedal experience. Aventon also outfitted the Pace 500 with its integrated turn signals, as well as changing some of the tuning and its pedal assist selection in the display, which we'll talk a little bit more about when we get to the component section. Now, the Pace 500 here does a very nice job rounding out Aventon's lineup. If you step back and look at Aventon's lineup, the Pace 500 fits in very nicely just below the Level, which is really more of their full-fledged commuter bike, and the Pace obviously fits in more like that cruiser style e-bike. It's nice to see that Aventon really offers an e-bike for every type of rider out there. Helping with keeping riders within their ecosystem, they also have a dealership network of over 1,800 plus dealers and offer an industry-leading 2-year warranty, which hopefully allows the end rider to spend more time actually riding their bike than staring at it in the garage. Now, the Aventon Pace 500 is offered by Aventon for $17.99. However, be sure to check the link in the description, not only to help support us here at Ebike Escape, but also to help save yourself a little bit of money or maybe receive some free items. At time of filming, the Aventon Pace 500 was offered with a complete second free battery. The Pace model is offered in 2 frame variations. You get a high step like you see here with the top tube, as well as a really nice step through. Basically, just imagine it without this top bar. Now, both of those frame variations are offered in 2 sizes. You get a regular and a large, both having their different height ranges. But just note that if you are anywhere between 4'11" all the way up to 6'4", Aventon has the Pace model for you. Now, along with this being the high step, this is the regular frame size. I am a 5'7" rider with a 29-inch inseam, and I fit very nicely on this bike. Able to get up, I can get full leg extension without a problem. Puts me in a very nice upright riding position, which is going to be in course thanks to these very swept-back handlebars we'll get a closer look at in a bit, as well as this adjustable stem. Now, along with there being 2 different frame options and 2 different frame sizes, there's also 2 different colors, and those colors do differ between whether you get the high step or the step through. The high step is offered in this midnight black, like you see here, kind of more of a matte black, as well as a camouflage green, and then the step through is offered in a basalt, kind of a gray, and a white. The total payload capacity of the Pace is 300 pounds. That's going to be rider and cargo included, as well as it has a total weight of about 52 pounds, 54 pounds, depending on whether you get the high step or step through. Overall, a pretty light bike. You can get that weight down even a little bit more by pulling out that battery. Now let's get in close and start talking about the components. Starting up here in the center, let's talk about these Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. Very capable, very strong brakes, grabbing onto a nice 180 millimeter Tektro rotor. You will also notice that we have this bolt-on axle. And then if you look here for the keen-eyed, you'll have these bolt holes here. You notice that there are no fenders, but there is access and mounts here for either fenders or a front rack, which Aventon does sell as aftermarket purchasable accessories, kind of a nod to that upgradability I was talking about. The tires here are Innova 27.5 by 2.1 inch tires, which have a very street-oriented tread, complete with reflective sidewall. We also have a rigid front fork. As we work our way up the frame here, you will notice we have these nice wrapped cables all the way down into the down tube. We have the nice Aventon badging here on the head tube. Working our way up into the cockpit, here's our look at this really nice adjustable front stem and those really nice swept-back handlebars put you in a nice upright and relaxed riding position. And this adjustable stem allows you to kind of tune the cockpit to fit the end rider a little bit better. Out here on the side, we have these Aventon branded ergonomic grips. These are rubber. We have these Tektro hydraulic disc brake lever here as well. Push thumb throttle. On the right-hand side, we have a 8-speed Shimano thumb shifter and matching grip and lever. Now, before we talk about that display, let's go ahead and talk about the headlight up here, which is located up on the handlebars. And what that does is when you turn, you actually turn the headlight. So if you're riding at night or in low light situations, when you're actually turning, you're illuminating where you're going. And then on the back of the bike, we have these nice taillights, which are located off to the sides here. And you notice those turn on when you turn on the headlight as well. And they are also brake actuated. And I said it before, but there are also blinkers built into these rear taillights, both right and left there. And one nice thing about these blinkers that I have found out and I tested already is that if you leave them on, they actually turn themselves off after about 15 seconds. So you don't have to worry about maybe turning them on for a left-hand turn and then leaving them on for your entire ride. Now let's go ahead and talk about that display. Before we talk about the display itself, located down here on the bottom of the display, there is this little Aventon door here, which if you pop it off, shows you this nice USB-A charging port down here so you can charge your phone while you're riding. And if we get back up to the display, over here on the left, we have our 5 buttons. We have a plus, minus, power button is in the middle, and we have a left and right button for the blinkers. That's how you turn them on and off. The display actually illuminates with which way they're on, and you can simply push the buttons to cancel them. Now, when you turn the bike on, you get greeted to a very nice Aventon home screen here. Now on this main screen here at the top, we have our battery percentage. We have the miles per hour. On the left here, we have our pedal assist levels. Then we have some data over here, which we can change. We have an odometer and total trip time. If you push the power button in the middle that cycles, we now have average speed, max speed, some CO2 reduced, some trees reduced. Now back to the odometer. And over here on the left, we have our pedal assist. Now, unlike other e-bikes or really any of Aventon's previous models, instead of us having 0 to 5, we have off, eco, tour, sport, and turbo. You only get those 4 levels of pedal assist, but those 4 levels, of course, as they go up in intensity of the word, they also change with how much pedal assist and how much assistance you're getting. Now, this display also has an advanced feature set, which if you push the up and down button, you get greeted to this menu. You can clear your trip data, adjust your screen brightness, set the units of measure, whether you want kilometers an hour or miles per hour, get some general system info, and then at the bottom, connect to app. Now let me go ahead and throw you on a tripod and I'll show you the app that Aventon has. All right, in order to get into the app and really some of the more advanced settings or the thing that I think most of you want to know, how are you going to override your bike? On that list of advanced settings here on the display, you're going to actually click on that last one, connect to app, and you're going to get a QR code. Now, once that QR code is up, you're going to get out your phone. You're going to download the Aventon app. I'm going to throw a screencast on here so you'll be able to see as I go through this. Once you have the Aventon app open, you're going to have to sign in. I'm already signed in. You're going to click that nice big pair button. You're going to get access to your camera app. You're simply going to scan the QR code. I swear I didn't even get over top of it and it already recognizes it. And all you have to do is click sure, pair now. And here we're just going to change it. It's from the name of the bike from my e-bike to Pace 500.3. And we're just going to click save. You can also skip that if you don't want to name your bike. And here you go. It gives you a little bit of helpful information here about your bike. Got it, what you're going to do. And that's it. Now you are connected to your bike. Very seamless. So on this screen here, you get full access to everything that the bike can do. What I mean by that is you can simply tap your light button here and turn your headlight on or off. You can even change your pedal assist levels, which immediately changes them on the display. Go ahead and leave it in eco. Under settings here, this is probably the one that I think most of you are going to want to get into, is you can change your screen brightness, how long the bike will stay on within activity before it'll turn off, which assist level you're in, and your speed limit and metric. So we are going to go ahead and click that. You can change to kilometers, miles per hour, and you can also turn up the speed. Now, like any good e-bike manufacturer, they prompt you saying, hey, you're changing your bike to class 3. Make sure you follow local laws and regulations because there are some places that you cannot ride at class 3 speeds. We're going to click accept there. And you can turn the bike all the way up to 28 miles an hour, and 28 is going to be the max speed, as that is the maximum speed for class 3. We're going to go ahead and turn the bike down to 20 miles per hour. Just going to go ahead and leave it right where it was. Now, one big thing about this app before we leave the screen is that you will notice down here on the bottom it says unpair. A nice thing about Aventon and their app integration is that they've taken a use it if you want to, don't use it if you don't need to approach, which I really like. And what I mean by that is that once you have turned up your speed or set your power off time, your screen brightness or whatever, you can unpair it and it will save that change to the display and leave it there. You don't need the app to operate the bike, and you also do not need the app to override the speed every time that you ride the bike. However, if you do like app integration, there are some other things that Aventon has built into their app here that are very nice. You can see how many calories you've burned and what your max speed has been that you've driven the bike at, as well as you can go down here to service, and you can actually find dealers in your area. Right here, we're not going to give it access to my location. You can go to maintenance and you can actually look at how long you have before you should check certain things, cassette, tires, things like that, help you keep your bike riding as long as possible. And then you can also go to support, where you could get help and find the FAQs on your bike. And then down here on the bottom, we have Ebike. You can click record. You can record all of your rides and save that information. You simply click that go button right there in the center to start your ride. Or on the right-hand side here, you can click discover, which is really a gamification or an ability to kind of connect with some other Aventon riders out there. Nice way to add a little bit of hopefully connectivity there to some other riders and within a community. And then you can go to the last one, which is me, where you can look at all the various things. You can change bikes, clear cache, things like that. Now, like I said, I really like Aventon's approach to this. It allows people maybe like myself who are more tech savvy to utilize the app if we want to, or avoid the app at all costs if you're somebody who just wants to use an e-bike for commuting. All right, let's go ahead and work our way down from the cockpit. Here's a look at that top tube as well as our down tube, and you will notice a lack of bottle cage bosses. So if you want to maybe say mount a water bottle or a lock, you will need to use maybe an included lock and mounting accessory, or you could purchase a product that we sell in our store, which is going to be this ABC cage along with this mount. I have it simply mounted over the battery here. This is also the Sidewinder version, so you can get easier access with the top tube here. We also offer it in a standard bottle cage boss where the knob is on the front. This bottle cage is great. You can lock on to really anything from a small water bottle all the way up to a Nalgene bottle if you had one. Now, one thing that you may notice about this bottle cage boss, that I actually have it mounted over the battery. Nice thing about this Velcro strap, simply undo the Velcro and you can pull it off. It takes nothing but a second here. And now it allows me to still pull the battery in and out of the bike, which is the next thing we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and pull the battery out. So we're gonna need our keys here. Now the keys, Aventon has started putting this nice yellow handle here on the top, makes them easier to find. You're gonna put them over here in on the passenger side up top, and you're gonna twist the keys up towards the top of the bike. And then once the battery has popped up, you simply pull it up and bring the battery up and out. On the front here, you have the nice LED display, which is gonna change between 3 colors, red, green, and blue, associated to how much charge is in the battery. On the side over here, you have the charging port, which is the same charging port whether the battery is on or off the bike. Easily accessible there. And here's a look at the specs for the battery. This is a 48 volt, 12.8 amp hour battery, which comes out to about 614 watt hours. Now, this battery and the entire electronic systems on the bike are UL compliant to UL 2849 standard, which is a nice nod to safety. Glad to see that Aventon went through the process of getting their bikes tested. Now, if you're on the subject of safety, you're trying to keep your battery safe maybe while you're transporting around, have to recommend another product that we sell at our shop.ebikescape.com store. It's going to be our bike case battery bag. This is water and flame resistant. This is the small one. Simply drop your battery in and then you twist the top up here like a dry bag. You simply click this over here. You got yourself a nice carrying handle, but it's a nice way to stop your battery from maybe getting banged up if you're transporting your battery around, or if you just have it stored for winter, like we're going to be doing here soon in Wisconsin. Now, to put the battery back in the bike, first got to pull it out of your bag, and you line up these 2 little pegs on the bottom here at the bottom of the bike, and then you push the battery in. And then once you pull out the keys are only needed for taking the battery out of the bike. You do not need it to lock the battery into the bike or anything like that. And something Aventon also does really well goes to the charging department here. First thing is going to be they include a nice 3 amp charger, a little bit bigger than we typically see, as well as you get a nice accessory box here. Now, you will need to open this box to find your pedals. You get a multi-tool, pedal wrench, spare parts, your charger, and reflectors. This is a nice accessory kit, a little bit of extra polish than we typically see. And on the subject here of polish, another thing that Aventon does really nicely is that all of their bikes come in eco-friendly packaging. It means that there's cardboard amongst all of the componentry, keeping everything locked in. They use as little plastic as possible. And while I'm talking about their accessory kit too, I have to call out their tools. Nice to see that these are not just throwaway tools like we see from some manufacturers. Heck, this pedal wrench is one that I use to put together all sorts of bikes or take on and off the pedals on my mountain bike or any of my bikes all the time. Now let's bring you in close. We get our nice pedal arms and these plastic pedals, which have a nice appearance to them. Not something that we typically see. Coming down the back of the chain arm here, we get this nice Pace 500 branding on the rear chainstay, and the kickstand that is located very nicely back out of the way. Tektro hydraulic rear disc brake. And like I said, this bike kind of comes as a choose your own adventure, as there is not an included rear rack, but you can see you have some nice solid mounting holes here and here, whether you wanted to go with the Aventon model or an aftermarket model from another manufacturer. Now, as we come around the bike, here's a look at the Aventon branded motor. This is a 500 watt motor, and then located on the outside here of the rear gear, we have the Shimano rear cassette. This is a 12 to 32 tooth, and moving the chain over that, we have a nice Shimano Altus rear derailleur, matching Pace 500 branding on the rear chainstay. And then here we have this nice 3M tape here, which is going to keep your chain from slapping and damaging your frame. And as we follow the chain up to the front, here we have a nice metal double-sided chain guard, which is covering a 48 tooth front chain ring. Then we come up here on the seat tube. Here you'll notice a sticker which has the wattage, the classing of the motor, and the current frame size, and any sort of information or safety standard information that you need right here, charging information, things like that. There's your UL2849 certification number there. And then as we come up, I would argue this is probably the component that you're going to touch the most, even more than the handlebars. This is an Aventon branded seat, which is also a little bit wider than we typically see, also a little bit firmer, definitely more of a cruiser style seat. But because of that lack of front suspension, I would recommend checking out one more product that we sell at our shop.ebikescape.com store. It's going to be a suspension seat post. Now, that suspension seat post, we consider them game changer accessories because they provide just a little bit of cushion and really make the ride that much more pleasurable. But with all of that out of the way, that tells you everything you need to know about the componentry that makes up the Pace 500. So how does that torque sensor perform? Can that 500 watt motor make it up our hill climb test? Let's find out. All right, here we are, first person riding footage. And one thing I realized is that I turned the speed back down on this bike. So it's not going to be overridden. It's not going to be a class 3 capable bike in this testing. So what I wanted to do real quick was just go through and show you how easy it was from pairing to overriding your bike and then back out very quickly if for some reason you had to do it. All right, so the only thing I've done is I've started up the app and gotten to the pairing screen, and then I went into display and got to connect to app. I'm going to go ahead and click that again. There we are. We're going to scan, click pair now. We're going to skip naming the bike. Oh, sorry, that's an issue on my phone. I had my Bluetooth turned off. There we go. Now we're set. Now we're going to go to settings. Now we're going to go to speed, and we're going to accept that we're turning the bike up to class 3, which class 3, for anybody that doesn't know, is going to be the ability to pedal up to 28 miles per hour, whereas class 2 is limited to 20 miles per hour via throttle or pedaling. This one gives us access to throttle power to 20 and then a speed limit of 28 miles per hour when pedaling. So now see, I try to pull it up, says this is your max speed. That's all we have to do. We're going to click unpair now. We're going to confirm that that change went through. Unpair was successful. All right, and there we go. Less than a minute or two, I've got the speed overridden. All right, now that we're on the bike, let's go ahead and give this throttle a test and show you how much acceleration this bike has, even though it is only a 500 watt motor. So here we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, and right about 19.8, 19.7, I can feel the motor back off. And here we are, 20 miles per hour. Didn't even break a sweat. Now, another thing I want to talk about real quick is going to be the overall comfort of riding this bike. Now, I do, over some of these bumps, find myself wishing that there was a front fork, but you could upgrade that later if you were do-it-yourselfer. But outside of that, I'm really comfortable in the position I'm sitting in. My wrists are in a very relaxed position, kind of back. The swept back handlebars, of course. I could adjust the stem a little bit more, but also the pedal placement, they're kind of a pedal forward position. So my butt is behind where I'm pedaling. So it's a very comfortable upright position. And overall, it's very comfortable. I have no complaints with this bike. Definitely feels like a cruiser, which is going to be a more of a comfortable, maybe short haul bike. Or, you know, if you like some crushed gravel paths a little bit longer, please enjoy. All right, so now let's go ahead and slow the bike down. All right, let's go ahead and talk quickly about the difference between a torque and a cadence sensor. Biggest difference is going to be the feel. A cadence sensor is like an on-off switch, so that if you're pedaling, it's giving you power. If you're not pedaling, it's not giving you power. And then a torque sensor has the ability to measure how much power or how many rotations you're actually putting in with your legs, and it amplifies the power based upon that. Now, what does that translate to? Basically translates to a more natural pedaling feel. Feels more like you're riding a normal bike. Some people like that, some people don't. The throttle, I believe, bridges that gap a little more, because if you don't want to pedal, you just use a little bit of throttle and you're good to go. So now, to start out here, we are in first gear and we are in Eco, which is the lowest pedal assist level. Now, I'm gonna try and keep the same cadence this whole time while I'm pedaling and see what speed we really settle into in what gear. So right here, I can feel the torque sensor measuring, turning off, measuring, turning off. I would probably shift up here, go into second. That feels a little bit more normal. Looks like we're doing about 9, 10 miles an hour there. And again, we are still in Eco, 10, 11 miles an hour. And I'm, again, trying to keep the same cadence. Now, it looks like we're settling in here, like I said, right about 10 miles an hour. And to show you that torque sensor here, if I provide a little bit more power with my legs, there's a blue bar here on the display which ramps up. It's going to give me more power, and I can get all the way up to 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, see, without a problem. And that's all going to be based upon how much effort you want to put in and how much pedaling you actually want to do. So let's go ahead and slow it back down to that about 10 miles an hour here. And we are in third gear on the shifter, which felt like the right amount of pressure on my legs here. So now we're going to go ahead and kick it up to tour. And it looks like we're settling in about 12 miles an hour. I'd probably shift up here to about fourth. Yeah, this feels good for about 12 miles an hour. Now we're going to kick it up to sport here. Instantly felt the motor provide a little bit more power. I'd kick it up. Fifth, probably even sixth here. I'm trying to keep that same cadence. Looks like we're doing, 14, 15 miles an hour. Oh, 16, 17. Yeah, this feels about right. And there, as we switch it into turbo, we go up to about 18 miles an hour here. It looks like we're holding pretty steady there. So here, let's go ahead and use our legs to engage that torque sensor a bit more. Just a little bit faster of a cadence here. We're doing 20 pretty easily. 21. I would probably shift up here as I'm starting to ghost pedal. Seventh. Yeah, 22 miles an hour. Almost 23, right on that verge, and we'll shift it all the way up into eighth. 23. Yeah, 23, 24. With that nice, easy cadence, providing just a little bit faster cadence than what I was via the riding before. But we get up to about 24 miles an hour with, pretty relative ease. We'll show you how fast this bike accelerates if you're just going all out speed, as well as what type of cadence we have to maintain to get to maybe that top speed of 28 miles an hour. All right, here we go. First gear, turbo. Yep, 4. Shift up second, up third, shift up fourth, shift up to fifth, shift up to sixth. Oh, I didn't calculate for the wind. I had the wind on my back there, apparently. Let's see if we can still get it. I bet we can still get up 28 miles an hour. 26, 27. It looks like somewhere at about 27 miles an hour. Let me see. I'm going to go, putting in quite a bit of effort to get up to that 28 miles an hour, but I definitely had to work for that and put in quite a bit of pressure with my legs. That's going to be in part due to the wind, as well as some of the gearing choices Aventon's made on the Pace 500.3. All right, so that's how the torque sensor performs on flat ground. Let's put that motor to the test up our hill climb. All right, here we are at the hill climb test. This is where we're going to see how that 500 watt rear motor can get up a pretty steep hill. Now, this is the hill climb that I take all the bikes up when I test them. We will put the specs for the hill on the screen now. Also, for anybody not familiar, the first time up, we're going to be going up under throttle power alone, and the next time up, I'm going to come back down, give the brakes a test, and then test it out while pedaling. So on the way up here, doesn't matter what pedal assist level we're in, as any pedal assist level will activate the use of the throttle. So it looks like we're pretty quickly dropping. I think we got almost up to like 15, 20 miles per hour there, somewhere in that neighborhood. Now we've settled into about 7, 7.5. That back there was about the steepest part of the hill. And it's like, 7, 8 miles an hour. So only listed as a 500 watt motor. A little bit of a steep part here at the end. Yeah, it looks like we're dropping 6, 8. Again, not the slowest we've seen. And it doesn't feel like the motor's going to stop. And this is also a worst case scenario, as we are putting this motor in a situation where you're not providing any of your own power. Not really something that a bike is meant to do, but it is still capable of doing. That was a pretty steep hill. So it looks like we touched 5 miles an hour there. So pretty low top speed overall. But like I said, it is only a 500 watt motor. Typical bike we see is around 750 watts. So here we go. We're going to turn it back around and we're going to go down now. And we are going to test out these Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. I like to get up to about 30 miles an hour and try and get to that. Try and stop the bike, 2, 3 times as the brakes get hot. That's when we tend to see them fade in performance. Had to let off on the rear brake there as the bike was going to start sliding this higher. So yeah, very powerful brakes overall. Let's see here. I'm going to get going again. 20, 24, 26 miles an hour, 27, 28, and yeah, no problems out of these brakes. Tektro is a very well recognized brand in the bike industry. Wouldn't expect anything less out of these brakes. Go ahead and flip it back around. And now we are going to, I would like to get shifted all the way down here to first. And we're going to slow down to about a crawl, about 2-3 miles an hour there. Here we go. And we are in eco now. And I am going to start pedaling up the hill. So I don't think you'll be able to see it, as I don't think you were able to see it in the riding portion, but there's a little blue bar here below the mile per hour, and that's how much power the bike is currently giving. So I'm going to try and maintain a nice, easy cadence, as this is a torque sensor, so the amount of cadence that you're putting in does matter, as we saw with the riding. But here we are. We're doing about, I don't know, 8 miles an hour here, and I am in the easiest gear. This is probably about where I'd want to stay, especially on a torque sensor. I probably feel like I would kick it up to tour, get a little bit more power out of the motor. Did feel a little bit of pressure come off my legs there. That blue bar did go up 1 dash. Kick it up to sport mode now. Yeah, almost instantly got me up to 8. According to the display, the GPS is still trying to decide. Yes, it looks like 7-8 miles an hour. And I'm going to kick it all the way up into turbo. Trying to keep the same cadence. Okay, so 7-8 miles an hour. All right, that wraps up all of our testing on flat ground and our hills. We've gone through all the components. So what's left? Well, how about a pros and cons list and some reasons maybe you should and should not consider the Pace 500.3 for your next cruiser adventure. The Aventon Pace 500.3 sparks a great combination of versatility and comfort, making it a fantastic option for anyone seeking a customizable cruiser e-bike from a very reputable brand. Like other Aventon models, you'll have access to the support of over 1,800 bike shops for that pre-purchase test ride or even any post-purchase maintenance. A major plus if you're looking for that peace of mind beyond other online-only brands. Now, one of the first things you'll notice about this model is it's a higher quality build than similarly priced e-bikes. Aventon hasn't skimped on any of the componentry. It features Shimano Altus 8-speed drivetrain and Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, so you're getting name brand reliability almost at every turn. Although this model is meant to be a cruiser without a suspension fork, Aventon has designed this model with a low 52-pound weight, making it easier to transport and handle day to day. Whether you're bringing it along on a road trip, thanks to that lower overall weight, it's a great companion for lower weight capacity racks, or fitting it into smaller spaces like an apartment, the lighter weight makes a noticeable difference and is one of the main reasons that I think we see so many of these out in the wild so frequently. The Pace shines in its choose-your-own-adventure design, and what I mean by this is that Aventon delivers the Pace as a bare-bones ready-to-ride e-bike, but sells a range of compatible accessories from fenders to racks and all kinds of other storage options, really allowing you to customize the bike to meet your needs. Plus, you have the option to connect to Aventon's apps to adjust the bike's class settings for speed, and I applaud them for their there if you want it, gone if you don't app approach that they take with this. Aventon takes safety very seriously, which is one of the reasons that they also include a comprehensive lighting package with integrated battery-powered lights and blinkers, helping you be seen on the road and also while removing that worry about recharging your lights between rides. The entire bike is also UL 2849 certified, which means that the full e-bike system has passed rigorous safety standards, offering a little bit extra peace of mind. The model's geometry is perfect for those after a true cruiser feel. With a comfortable frame, adjustable stem, and classic cruiser styling, it offers one of the most comfortable rides out there. You also get to pick between multiple frame sizes, regular and large, plus a choice between a high step and a step-through frame, all of which allow them to accommodate riders between 4'11" all the way up to 6'4", making that accessibility window a wide range for any rider of any height. That said, there are a few considerations to keep in mind. The Pace 500 has a smaller 500 watt motor, which is simply underpowered compared to the 750 watt motors that we see on some other cruiser e-bikes. It was able to carry me, a 225 pound rider, up our hill climb test, but at a slower pace than what we usually see. On flat ground though, I had no complaints. It performs well and keeps up with other class 3 speed capable bikes once you're pedaling. And on the subject of pedaling, you will have to work a bit harder as this bike is a torque sensor, which requires a bit more effort than a typical cadence sensor e-bike. Also not helping this too much is that 48 tooth front chainring. I assume this was done to gear the bike down for more comfortable cruising speeds, so anybody seeking those high speeds may find themselves a bit limited. The battery on the Pace is slightly smaller than what we typically see at this price point at 12.8 amp hours. Now, two factors that really help along this smaller battery though is first, that torque sensor allows for a more efficient ride, extending that range to 60 miles in some cases. And second, that compact size allows the battery to be removed from the top of the frame. This top removal feature is something that we've come to really appreciate more and more here at Ebike Escape. It makes handling and charging that much easier. The total payload capacity is also 300 pounds, which will be sufficient for most riders, but is slightly below the average 330 to 350 pounds that we typically see in this category. Also, with its higher price point, it's definitely positioned to compete with other bike shop brands. However, you can find this bike on sale and it becomes a much stronger value proposition then. So check the link in the description for the best current price. And if you do decide to make a purchase after clicking that link, that is a free and easy way to show support to us here at Ebike Escape. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. All things considered, the Pace 500.3 is a stylish, comfortable cruiser that makes a solid choice if you value both brand support and customization. With its well-chosen components, thoughtful design, and a reliable build, it's a great pick for anyone looking to invest in a versatile cruiser e-bike. What brand does it better than Aventon? What cruiser e-bike should we review next? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Ride safe, everyone, and I will catch you all in the next one.